Hi everybody, Dave Fresilli with Holistic Health and Fitness, and welcome back for round 3 of our nutrition food profile. And this is our last video on this. Remember, the whole idea here is I just want to give you the basic guidelines to food quality. We're not getting into portions yet or anything else, but the food quality, because again, if you can just lock in food quality, high food quality, that goes a long way to helping your body create health and wellness and increase your fitness levels also. So we're going to jump into this again, and our last one is on lipids. But again, let's go over the basics. I want you to start changing the way you're thinking about your food and how you're eating. And I want you to start thinking about eating for health and wellness, okay? Remember, food is a drug. It has a hormonal response, either a positive response of health and well-being and good energy, feeling of well-being, or it's going to have a negative hormonal response where you're going to feel tired, you're going to feel drained. You might have things like gas and bloating or food intolerances, which can cause everything from allergies and skin rashes to nasal issues, all sorts of things. So again, that list is very long for those negative reactions. Now, again, eating for health and wellness is the way you want to pursue this. Remember, if you give the body what it needs, it can heal itself. Don't eat to lose weight. I want you to eat to get healthy. And by eating to get healthy, when your body starts responding to being healthy and well, you will lose the weight that you need to lose, if you need to lose weight. And if you're too thin, your body will actually increase its weight to a healthy level. Because when the body's healthy, it finds that homeostasis where it needs to be, right in that level of that perfect health and wellness, which means your body will be healthy, you'll feel happy, you'll have good energy, and your weight will be very, very good for where you're at. Okay, so you'll get the body that you want is what I'm getting at. Okay, so again, we're stepping into our last segment, which is on lipids, which are also fats. So synonymous, lipids and fat are the same thing we're talking about. We're going to break it down into 3 categories. Don't get complex. You don't even really have to worry about the titles of them, okay? Just understand that lipids or fats are very critical to your health and well-being. Yes, you have to have them in the right amounts, and we can talk about that later, but just understand that you don't want to go on a non-fat or heavily fat restricted diet because you will have other health issues that come up with that. You need fat, okay? It doesn't mean you overdo it either. So we want the right amounts in there, just like we want the right amounts of proteins and we want the right amounts of carbohydrates. Proteins, carbohydrates, and fats in the right amounts create health and wellness. In any of those that are off, too much or too little, are going to have reactions towards illness, not feeling well, and then towards disease, okay? So we want to get the right amount. So having said that, we're going to go into this. Again, don't be intimidated by the big names. We don't even have to worry about those. But the first one are monounsaturated fats. So as you can see behind me, we're looking at things like olive and olive oil, avocado oil, almonds, pecans, cashews, sunflower seeds. So these are mono. Mono meaning one, as in one unsaturated fat. It's a longer story. We don't have to go into it. But these are high quality fats that your body actually needs. And you should think about bringing those into your food profile or how you're eating through your day. The next one is a poly, meaning many unsaturated fats combined together. And here we're looking at things like flaxseed and flaxseed oil, walnuts and walnut oils, pumpkin seed, and you can get pumpkin seed oil, fatty fishes like salmon, sardines, herring, mackerel, tuna, even trout. Now, yes, those are protein sources, but the fats that come in those protein sources are high quality fats, polyunsaturated fats. And when we're looking at those protein sources or those fat sources, we look at what we call, these are essential fatty acids, by the way. These are the omega-3 fatty acids, what people say are fish oils, right? But you can get that from flaxseed and from the walnuts and the pumpkin seeds also. And there's others also, but these are the high quality ones that I want to talk about. So you want to start adding those in to your food profile or what you're eating every day, because those omega-3 fatty acids are highly nutritious, and they are very, very good for anti-inflammatory, among other things, in your body, creating anti-inflammation in your body, which is very, very good, okay? And then the last source of fats we want to talk about are saturated fats at the bottom. But I want to help you understand something. Saturated fats have been demonized for decades, and the medical profession started blaming saturated fats on heart disease and clogged arteries, etc. But what they came to find out, and then they kind of hid from us, was it is not the saturated fats that cause that issue. It is actually refined carbohydrates and high sugars that do that. And it's a longer story of how that happens, but basically what happens is this gets converted into trans fats in your body, those simple sugars and those refined sugars. And that's what causes that things along the lines of heart disease and clogged arteries, etc. Again, a longer story. But what I want you to grasp now is that saturated fats in the right portions and the quality of them are actually good for you. So let's talk about that very simply. Saturated fats are going to come from your animal proteins, so things like beef and lamb, et cetera, and pork, right? And coconut oil, which is very, very good for you. Now, the sources that they have to come from when we're talking about your animal proteins or your animal sources, again, if you go back to that conversation we had about animal proteins when we were talking about proteins, those animal proteins and those animal fats, saturated fats, need to come from animals that were grass-fed, free range, that were not treated with antibiotics, hormones, steroids, and were not fed commercial animal feed, which again has all sorts of different byproducts in it, which we don't want to even get into. So you want these animals that are basically, that have been living out on the open range eating grass, because when they eat grass their entire life, they have an actual very good profile of omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acids. And again, we just kind of briefly talked about those omega-3 fatty acids being very good for anti-inflammatory responses in your body. So animal proteins that have fat in them, which they do, are very good for you. Now, having said that, let's say you're eating steak. I don't want you eating the outside, the fat that comes on the outside. No, don't. That's too much. But the fat that's within, that's marbleized within the meats, that fat is actually very good for you, again, if it's coming from an animal that's been grass-fed. Okay? So you can let go of your fear of eating saturated fats as long as it's coming from those high-quality sources and it's within the meat. It's not the outside marbleized stuff that's outside. You want to cut that off, okay? So, but you want to take in all of these kinds. It doesn't mean you over-inundate yourself with fat throughout the day. But if you're eating, again, it comes down to the quality of the food. When you're eating whole foods, when you're eating high-quality protein sources, when you're eating high-quality carbohydrate sources, whole grains, that kind of things, and high-quality fruits, and when you're eating high-quality fats, you're getting all this in all at once. So now I'm going to just briefly, very, very quickly talk about each meal. Each meal, when you're eating high-quality foods, whole foods, will have a good profile within them of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, right? So I don't want you eating just protein for a meal. I don't want you eating just vegetables for a meal, nor do I want you eating just fats for a meal. When you're eating whole-quality foods, they will have a good profile of protein, fats, and carbohydrates within them. So that's the idea behind eating quality, nutritious food. Whole foods come as a whole food with proteins, carbohydrates, and fats in them. It makes it that much easier on your body because your body actually recognizes that food and that food source as a whole food that it can then break down into those separate segments of proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and then it pulls out the minerals and the antioxidants, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's where I want you to start. It's a very basic general understanding, but I can tell you folks that if you just focus on that alone, your food quality and where it's coming from, those food sources, and getting that high quality food, that alone makes a huge difference with moving towards health and wellness and giving your body what it needs to heal itself so that you can create this amazing life of health and wellness and vitality and virility and joy, and really living a life of happiness. That's where it all comes down to. So that was a little bit of what it takes in a general view of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, those lipids. All right, so take that now. Go to your cupboards, take everything that's in a can, everything that's in plastic, and get rid of it, and go to the store and buy these high quality foods and fill your shelves and fill your refrigerators with this. Organic, grass-fed, biodynamic, wild caught, raised wholesomely on farms. This is the food that you want. Focus on that, eat that, and you will go a long way to creating health and wellness in your life. So until I see you next, this is E Fresilli with Holistic Health and Fitness, and I want you to all go out and live a vibrant life. Take care.